Welcome Facebook Live. We are here. This is your home team. I'm Dr. Serrano. This is my wife Jessica, and we're excited. We're kicking off a new series. It's a 3-week series on revamping your family's nutrition. So this week we're going to talk about the number one missing macronutrient in most of our diets, in our nutrition plans and our diets. And I want to talk a little bit about how it's affecting development in kids. And about halfway through this, my wife and I will go through some really practical steps of how do you start increasing this macronutrient in our nutrition plans. As people come on, go ahead and say hi to us. Tell us where you're at or who you are, and share this as you go along, because as you share this, we get to disseminate this information and allow other people to just to start getting healthy and living a healthy life. And by the way, the reason we do this home team is because we want to walk alongside you guys as we all battle the challenges. You know, there's spiritual, there's mental, there's physical challenges to raising a healthy family, and we want to do this together. So we'll jump right in.
Yeah, so I know, at least as a mom, when you talk about nutrition, like there's one or two reactions, like super excited or basically wanting to throw in the towel before you even get started. If you have kids, building health in their bodies through nutrition can be one of the hardest challenges to face as a family. As you guys know, we have a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, we have a 5-year-old now, and a 2.5-year-old, and I totally get this. We've had our 9-year-old for almost 2 years now this summer. She came to us when she was 7, and talk about your standard American diet. Like, we were having a lot of fast food, a lot of habits were built into her, and we face the same challenge. So we have a 7-year-old, picky eater, used to certain foods, and we had to transition her into a healthy way of living, not just once in a while, but every day. So we just wanted to share some hope with you guys. Another age group, those toddlers, like trying to get the good nutrients into those picky eaters is really challenging. So what we're talking about today are the healthy fats. And I would say that is one of the first battles that you should fight, one of the first things that you should start implementing in your home. And if you could just do that one thing this week, I think you're going to be off to a great start. So don't throw in the towel just yet. Like, we want to give you some hope. This stuff actually works, and it's going to be easier than you think. So let's talk about those healthy fats.
What's on? Heather, nice to see you on. And yes, I do. She is pretty and she's beautiful. So thank you.
Thanks.
Healthy fats. So first of all, that's the number one missing macronutrient in our diet, especially for kids. We don't have enough healthy fats in their nutrition, in their diet. And the reason it's so important for kids is because fats is what helps them build their brain, their nervous system, and that controls everything in their body. If you don't have healthy fats, you're not building a healthy nervous system. So that's huge. It's huge to have those good healthy fats in there. Even as you grow into being an adult, you have to have healthy fats, because this is the basis of how your body builds hormones. Your hormones are built upon fats. So.
And one quick note about that is, I think with kids, a lot of times we're trying to decrease carbohydrates, and we're finding out that our kids are so hungry, like constantly hungry. And a lot of times it's just those healthy fats, because that's also what's going to help fill you up. Yes,
and there's a whole list of things why fats are so important. It helps with vitamin A, D, E, and K, the fat-soluble vitamins. I mean, there's a list of them, but they're the number one source of energy that our body wants to use for energy. It wants to use fat. We're programmed to be fat burners, and when we decrease the fat or we don't have enough fat, then we start to get out of balance hormonally. So, one of the some tips. Let's just jump right in and give them some tips.
Sure. So we each wanted to share some of our favorite ways of how we've added healthy fats to our own diet as well as with our kids. So if you know anything about kids, if you were to hand them one of these with a spoon, it's very doubtful that you'll get them to eat it. I know Aria, this was her first solid food, and now she despises it. So one of the great things about avocado, it's like that miracle fat. You can hide this in so many different things. So the first thing we like to do with avocado is hide it in smoothies, or what you can call milkshakes. So simply slicing it up, blending it, getting that creamy consistency, and then of course some ice. A lot of times it goes really nicely with some unsweetened cocoa mix. Just putting it in their smoothies, a couple times a week can increase that healthy fats. The other great thing with avocados that my kids absolutely love, and I'll try to publish this recipe online, is if you combine avocado into a food processor with a couple easy ingredients, you can make the most delicious chocolate mousse that you've ever had. So some of those ingredients, I think it has vanilla. It does have some maple syrup. You can play around with xylitol and stevia to use as alternatives. But the maple syrup, avocado, the unsweetened cocoa mix, the maple syrup, what else is in there? Some dates, you can use those as a sweetener. You put in a food processor, blend that up, and it turns into a perfect mousse consistency. Some raspberries on it, it's awesome. One of the great things about the chocolate avocado mousse is also you can freeze it. So if you're looking for some fudgicles this summer, it's super yummy. So if you look on Pinterest for chocolate avocado mousse, or I'll try to publish what I use, that's a great way.
Yeah.
That's one of your favorites.
For adults, it's I like MCT oils. MCT, and you can do this for kids as well. I know it's backwards there. But MCT oil is one of the oils that you can literally spoon in, and the kids can have a spoonful of that. Also, for adults, I love doing that in my coffee in the morning. I make a variation of what they call the bulletproof coffee. I take organic coffee, I put some MCT oil in there, I put a couple of drops of vanilla extract, some stevia, and I blend that up, and that starts to that gives me that initial kick in the morning of all the healthy fats. And Udo's oil, UDOS, I believe it is. Udo's oil is another way that you can get some healthy fats into yourself and into the kids as well. So, yeah, another one.
One of the easiest ways, of course, with cooking and using oils. I know there's a lot of different crazy oils out there. I know they're pushing canola oil a lot right now. But as far as cooking, I just make sure that we use those pure oils. So if you're heating anything up, sauteing in a pan, coconut oil, of course, is what we use 90% of the time. Some other things as far as the oils, sometimes I use some sesame oil if you want to make more of an Asian dish. We use extra virgin olive oil. I know a lot of people like to cook with that, but it will go rancid if you heat that too high. So if you're going to use olive oil, a lot of times I'll just use it over a dressing, or after you're cooking the vegetables, when they come out of the oven, that's a great way just to pour some of that just olive oil on top.
Let me ask a question. MCT oils, where can we get those? Really, any health food store would have those. We also use a lot of, we get a lot of stuff from Thrive Market and thrivemarket.com, and they have a lot of different variations of MCT oil, or brands for MCT oil. But yeah, so that's where we get the MCT oil.
A couple other things I like to cook with that we've been trying out is, of course, butter. I know people really get freaked out when they hear all these really fatty things we're using, but the coconut oil, the butter, a great alternative is ghee, Ghee, that you can find a lot now. I mean, we even have like duck fat, just like the pure good fats that a lot of times we think that we need to get out of our foods. We put them back in through cooking.
Yeah. That was a great point. You want to get all these fats as natural as possible. I guess we didn't answer this at the beginning. What are healthy fats? Literally, anything that's God-made is essentially a healthy fat. If it's God-made, you can pretty much put it into your body. If it's man-made, or if it's altered by man, you want to stay away from it. That's the easiest way to look at that. If it's something that's been made in a lab, if it's genetically modified, any of those things that man has had a hand in changing, I would stay away from it. Anything that's natural or naturally made, I would eat it. So we talked about avocado. You can also get avocado oil, and you can use that for some of your dressings. One of the things, a lot of times, some people want to stay away from dairy. There's a lot of things showing that when you use dairy, if you use raw dairy has a lot of good essential fats that your body can use. So if you're okay with dairy, some people just don't want to stay away from it, and that's fine. But if you are going to use dairy, use raw if you can. So like the butter, we get our raw butter, our raw cheeses, and we get that from a local farm. It's called Full Circle Farms, Real Food. I'll make sure of that and put it down in the comments. But it's Full Circle Farms, real foods, and they're here locally, and they actually deliver to our office every other week. Actually, today's the last day to order from them, and then they're going to deliver on Thursday. But we get all our raw, healthy butters and cheeses from them. So that's another great way. It's getting raw dairy, and that's a great way to get the kids.
They even
their
have
healthy
the raw
fats.
cheeses at places like Whole Foods. If
Yeah,
you're,
health food
looking
stuff.
for something.
Smoothie
convenient.
Pops is a good one.
Smoothie Pops, so like we talked about with adding avocado to different smoothies, or adding, I know we have some omega fish oils that of course very nasty. You take that top off of it and you're smelling fish. So if we're putting those in the smoothies, and your kids might get sick of smoothies, change it up by just freezing those and making some smoothie pops, like we mentioned earlier. So
that's pretty much it. I mean, the first thing, the number one missing macronutrient kind of review here is fats. Our kids are not getting enough fats, and the fats is what builds their brain, it builds their nervous system, it builds all the hormones in our body are derived from these fats that we're taking in. And if we're eating all these lower fat foods, we're not giving them what they need to build their systems with. So we have to find every avenue possible to get those fats in there. So we went over avocados. This is one of the main things we use to get into our kids. Avocado oil. We use duck fat. We use coconut oil, MCT oil, olive oil, anything that's God made. We will try to figure out a way to put it into a recipe and use it in our house to increase those good fats. So, anything else?
no, just a preview for next week.
Yeah, next week we're gonna go to week 2, and we're gonna go through how do you stabilize insulin or the sugar hormones in our kids, because this is the big thing. This is why we started with fats, because if we start with the sugar and decreasing the sugar, then the kids, their insulin hormones start to go all rampant, and you're gonna have a difficult time. So when we took our now 9-year-old in a couple of years ago, we didn't start by starting to take away all the sugar. They will go through withdrawals.
Yeah.
What we started to revamp the whole nutritional profile is start putting the good fats in. This is gonna start stabilizing the hormones, and next week we'll teach you how to decrease the sugars and a lot of different options that we use for that when it comes to the different juices we have and all the different stuff that we use, desserts. And so if you like this, give us some thumbs up, share this, put some hearts out there, and next week, week 2, we're gonna show you how to stabilize insulin and decrease sugar in our kids.
Okay.
See you guys.
Enjoy those oils.